back to Chris Review stuff. With the quarantine, and we're trying to figure out how to have fun with our son and have kind of do things but not have a lot of people over. We figured we'd have a small, like, just family party, just our parents and a couple of people over. And a cotton candy machine would be pretty cool to have to that. For his birthday, his 3rd birthday, so we figured let's just get a cotton candy machine, because who doesn't like cotton candy? So after doing some research, I figured the cotton candy machines they have to kind of sit on a table. I went with something that actually has a cart, so it's a little nicer looking, as well as being able to put the cart wherever you need it to be. And here comes the little guy right now. It's able to move the cart where you need it to be, so you don't have to have a table there to actually use. So I'm pretty sure this is Nurxiovo, is the name of the brand. And like I said, I'll have a link of this in the description, exactly which one this is. It's a picture. So anyway, I'll have a link to this exact item in the description, so you can see exactly which one we purchased. I'm pretty sure it's Nurxiovo is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Again, I wanted something, a cart, so it wasn't table mounted, so we could move it wherever we need to. Plus, it's cooler looking, if you ask me. So let's go ahead and unopen it. You want to come over here and help me open it? Yeah, I know you do. So this was kind of hard to have in the house for a while. So that's why I think we got this yesterday. We're just opening it now because it's impossible to keep something like this in a box. So all I've done is I just take the tape off, so it's easier for the video. Pretty big, that's right, okay. So yep, put that over there. Now just inside, so you can see this is how it is inside. You have your nice packaging, you got that hard styrofoam to keep it in place, it's not moving. Let's figure out how we take this out. So just kind of reach your hand in this box. This is actually the cotton candy machine here. Another thing I liked about this, and people were commenting for, is it has a drawer, so you can kind of store a couple things inside of it. So in case you need the spoon to pour the sugar in, or you keep some sugar aside. We did make our own sugar. We made banana flavor sugar today. I also have some in the mail. So in this video, we'll have the homemade sugar. Hold on one second. We'll have the homemade sugar we'll use, and then we'll also use purchased candy floss sugar. So you can see just how well the machine works with both homemade and a store purchase. So just some more plastic or some styrofoam. All right, hold on, bud. Don't let that out. So you can take the leg out. Take another leg. Two legs, I guess, and then actual candy bowl. You have lots of broken styrofoam. The wheels, these are not, they look like they're inflatable wheels, but they're not. It actually feels like a, I don't know, like hard plastic, or not really plastic, like a styrofoam maybe. Metal rings.
Why do you need that tie?
So we can move it. So you also have your handle to push, and the other side, the little table. That's it. So just a bunch of styrofoam in here. Hold on one second, hold on. Let's make sure there's no... That's it. No, we're not filling in the box just yet. We'll do that after the video. But there's no instructions I see just yet. We'll have to take stuff out of the plastic, and we'll make sure what we have is it. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to put this together, and then we'll start using it in the video. We'll give a review at the end. Thanks. All right, so inside of the cotton candy machine, the drawer, was all of this stuff. You have your nuts and bolts, your bearings, your big nuts, your big screws, your Allen key that comes with it, and then this here is the scoop to put the candy inside of the machine to operate. You also have 2 rubber stoppers for the feet. This side that does not have wheels, which you can see in this picture here. So this left side. The right side is going to have wheels on it, so you don't need those. Now, one thing I'm hoping to do for people is, in this video, to solve inside of this 2-page instruction manual, there's no instruction on how to put the machine together. Since this book does cover all of their machines, I guess they deemed it necessary to cut out necessary information on how to build this stuff.
So I'm going to build it in the video. So if you have any questions, watch the video on how to build it. Inside this manual here is an introduction to the machine, some information on the power requirements, the buttons and the things that you should know about the machine, some preparation facts, operating instructions, and then attention, don't let kids use this kind of deal. And then on the back is just some more information on what you should do, before. And then with everything that I've been purchasing, seems like is a electrical outlet here. So let's go ahead and put the machine together. I'm kind of guessing that this is used for the beams to hold the two legs together. These are going to be used to hold the wheels on. This obviously is your, to put it together, your thing. These are the bearings, two for each wheel, one in each side. I'm not sure what these are going to be for, and then I'm sure these are going to be used for just about everything else. So let's go ahead and see how to put this together.
All right, so what we're going to try to do first is the two legs. I'm guessing, looking at the two legs, they have this cutout here. So I'm assuming that's what the machine actually sits on. So to work on my hardwood floor, I'm going to put these rubber stoppers on the bottom of here. You want to get the other rubber one for me, the other black thing? Hand that to me, please. They're a little warped, so it's not really fitting on this side button. Go ahead, put it on right there for me. So these go on here just to hold these, so this, I guess, doesn't scratch or sit or indent into the ground that you're putting it on. So now this was going to sit this way, and this one is going to sit just like this, again, to hold the machine in here. Now, you've got to attach these two legs together, so we're going to put these cross beams in here. We're going to figure out which screw does that. All right, so after putting this side on, it's the four screws that you have that are kind of long, and they have the Allen key cut out. That's what you're going to use to put these brackets in to hold this leg together. So don't tighten them too much on one side. Put one side in, don't tighten it too tight, so you can actually get the other side in. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in here, and then actually screw into this bracket, I'm calling it for now. And then use your Allen key to just kind of tighten it a little bit. Don't super tight, not super tight just yet. You want to get the other side in and make sure it's straight. You should be able to kind of hand crank it a couple times, and then we're ready for the next step after this. All right, so now that we have both of these on, as you're doing it, make sure you hold this tight, this middle bracket, so as you're screwing, it doesn't rotate this, because this will rotate and won't be straight. Not a big deal, but just will not be as aesthetically pleasing as possible. So I'm just going to try to, okay. So I'm guessing again, looking at the pictures we have here, this wheel goes on the outside of the cart, and it uses this biggest bolt, you want to call it. Again, I'm pretty sure you're getting these bearings on each side of the wheel. I'm going to use this large bolt, put this through. So then we have this, and then this other odd nut. We only have two of them, probably one per bolt, is going to go on the other side of it. Now looking at the cotton candy machine here, this stands, I'm assuming it's got to go through here. There's a hole here, as you can see. It goes all the way through. I'm assuming it's the only other place it's got to go. So that's where I'm going to attach this now. Alright, so that's exactly what it is. This bolt goes in on the wheel, and on the other side, they do not provide pliers, but I'm pretty sure you can hand tighten this enough. There's a lot of thread left on the bolt that's still exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
So I don't think you'll have to worry about needing a pair of pliers. Stop. You may have to use a pair of pliers to make it really tight. Or if you don't have a pair of pliers, you're going to have to just kind of check it every once in a while and make sure the wheels aren't falling off.
Oh, that's a cotton candy machine.
That's right, it's a cotton candy machine. So the stand looks like it's done, it looks like to me.
Again, I have the wheels on the outside of the stand, the bolt going through this side, and on the inside of here, I'll get a little closer with pictures as well, I have the nut. So this was fairly easy to assemble. There is still a bunch of these nuts and washers here, or bolts and washers, I should say. You also are provided an extra fuse, it looks like. And we'll get close to the machine as well. There's an extra fuse and extra housing as well. So I guess that's good in case you ever need it. If you were to need another one after this, I'm not really too sure. I'm not an electrician. I'm not really electrical knowledge. So I'm not sure where you would get another one, but I'm sure you just need this. All right, so now that the base is assembled, we're going to take the cotton candy machine and sit it on top. And make sure as you're putting this together, you actually have the cutout so the machine can sit inside of this. So each one of these legs has an L cut on it. So again, the machine sits on it. So if I had turned this the wrong way, then you'll have these on the inside as opposed to the outside. All right, so now I've got the machine. I'm going to face it out, they say. Face it out away or towards one of the wheels. I'm going to try to seat it inside of this. So I got to kind of pull these legs apart a little bit. Yep, that's the drawer we were talking about earlier. So this is where the instructions were. This is where all your hardware was. So this drawer is rather large and is on this side of the machine where all the instruments are. All right, so now all we have to do is attach the machine to the base. So there's a bunch of these. This is all that's left of these little screws here and washers. So I'm going to use them to attach the machine. 2 bolts for each leg. 2 bolts. So now we have the machine attached to the legs of the base. I just want to mention the machine actually does not have to go on this if you don't want it to. You could leave this on just the tabletop and use it that way, or you could attach it to the legs as needed. They do sell just the machine separately, and then an additional cost is you can add this base with the legs to it. So with the base and the legs, there's also a handle here, another shelf, and a way to push it. So this attaches to these 4 holes, these 4 screw holes that are right here for you. And you put the screws in underneath, and attach this here so you can push it, have a little bit of a working area as well. And we're going to use the same screws we used to put this shelf on that we used to attach the base to the machine. Alright, so we've got the back handle on, and now we're going to put the front shelf on. As putting the handle on, don't tighten any of them until you're actually done, so you have all 4 of them in, because you're going to have to adjust the shelves a little bit to the holes to match what's on here. So don't tighten them all the way until you're ready to have all of them in just yet. Alright, so now that we've got the cotton candy machine assembled, the shelves are on, the handle, the wheels, everything, next part is the actual dish or the bowl that the cotton candy is made in. Wash this before you put it on there. I just used some soap and water, washed it out, rinsed it out, let it dry. I used a towel to dry just to get anything extra. So then you're ready to put this on. It's actually quite easy to put on once you understand what you're doing. So let's go a little closer. You'll see these feet here, these grippers. There's 4 of them. They go, so I'm going to do it like this. So they're pointed, they have a hook on them. That hook is going to point away from the center of the machine. So you've got 2 on each side pointing this way, and then these 2 are pointing towards me. I'm going to just lay this over the machine. You'll see there's some rubber stoppers here as well. And that's just going to help lay this cover on here. So it really just sits there and that's it. If I look under here, I'll see these feet. I'll see those hooks there are not hooked onto anything. They just rest and make this center, this bowl center. So now we're done. One additional thing you can add to this, let me take this off.
You need my help?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I need your help with this. So there is some clips here. Go ahead and clip those clips. These clips are, if you purchase an additional, once you have that silver dome on, there's a plastic cover that comes on to
to help keep that cotton candy inside the machine. Without that, you can really fly around if you're blowing cotton candy all day long. So I do recommend get that plastic thing. It's what they have at like carnivals and stuff. Otherwise, if you're just doing it once in a while, okay, you don't need to do it anymore. You get that on there and you just put your hand in and the cotton candy stays contained with that plastic bowl. It's an extra cost, does not come with this machine, but you could get that if you want. I don't see a need for it. Next up is actually, we're going to take this to the kitchen. We're going to have tile floor, so in case cotton candy flies around, I don't have to worry about the wood floor getting sugar on it. All right, so now that we're in the kitchen, you can see I have the cord is on this side, so you're going to plug it in somewhere. You're probably going to need an extension cord as it's only about 2 feet long. So on the front of the machine, you have your voltage meter. You have insurance, it's called, but it's where your fuse box, where your fuse is to be located. You have a temperature gauge or a temperature controller, and then you have your on and off switch. The instructions say to turn this machine on for 1 to 2 minutes to make sure that the machine's put together correctly, and then that warm up for 4 or 5 minutes. So what we're going to do right now is just let it warm up for 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll see from there. All right, so I've got some homemade banana sugar here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the head after a few minutes of it warming up, and then I'm going to use a wooden spoon to hopefully gather. All right, so just a few, let the machine warm up for 4 minutes, put the sugar in, and then all of a sudden you just get cotton candy blowing around your house. This is probably not the best thing to do in your house, but yeah, could you pick that up and just show, are you able to see inside this? So they also say to use, it's not loud either. I mean, it's not very difficult to talk with this going. It's not loud. It's a big thing to notice. But they do say to use like a bamboo stick or those cardboard things you see at the fair, because it does have a metal thing in the center. The metal part does have some blades that stick on it, so you don't want to put metal in here. You could probably hurt yourself if you put metal in there. So use wood or bamboo or something. Or, like I said, I purchased some sugar, and that purchased sugar is going to come with those cardboard. It's going to come with those cardboard containers or cardboard tubes that you see at the fair. So we'll be able to use that as well. I'll use that in the next part of the video when I use store-bought sugar as opposed to homemade sugar. So I think we're done. Right? It looks like we're done. So this is 1 scoop of sugar. So not so bad. You can see it's got the yellow from the yellow food coloring. Nice and. This is cotton candy. This is cotton candy from the fair. This is pretty good. It worked out well for the homemade sugar. The next part of the video, we'll get the store-bought sugar. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so we're outside only because the last time we used the can, the sugar went all over the place. And that was homemade sugar. So what we did is I went on Amazon and purchased this box of cotton candy stuff. It's 5 flavors, 100 cones. The cones are just the ones that you see at the fair usually. And the sugar comes in these little packets here. You want to pick that up for me, bud? Each packet is 8 ounces, and it says it makes 8 to 10 cones. So we'll see how well that goes. I also wanted to buy this to see the consistency of the sugar, to see how different the sugar is compared to a homemade sugar. So for 20 bucks, you get 5 different sugars, up to 50 cones, and you get 50 cones worth of the sugar and 100 cones to actually use. The machine's already warmed up, so let's go ahead, cut this open and start making some cherry flavored cotton candy. All right, so just smelling the sugar, it smells like Kool-Aid, really. So before I pour it in my sugar cone. Keep holding that cone for me.
Huh?
Keep holding that cone. I'll take that cone. Ready? So you can see it's a lot. It's a lot airier than the sugar we made at home, but it's also it's dry. The sugar we made ourselves
was wet. So this was a little different, but it's a different consistency as well. You can actually see this is from the fair, whereas opposed to the sugar we used to begin with was wet. It was still good, but this actually has a lot more flavor to it compared to the sugar we made. We just need to add more flavoring to the sugar we make at home. But this is a lot better. This is kind of worth the 20 bucks. Once you figure out your recipe of how to make perfect sugar, then you won't have to buy it, but this is totally worth the 20 bucks right now. Everything inside is pink. You got a little bit of sugar on the outside, just like we did with the homemade sugar. Just a little, about the same, I should say, just not as wet. So that's really it. So let's go ahead and wrap up. We'll taste this out and see how it is compared to homemade sugar and do a little review. All right, so the cotton candy machine, we've used it a couple times now. We've used homemade sugar and we've used store-bought sugar. The homemade sugar turned out decent. It wasn't as fluffy as the store-bought sugar, but I think it's because I made that sugar the day that we used it, so it was still kind of wet. It wasn't like saturated, but it was wetter than the dry sugar that we purchased that you saw in the video. The purchased sugar was almost like a iced tea mix or Kool-Aid mix that you get. I'd actually be interested to see if you can use iced tea mix or the pre-made Kool-Aid mix, because it really had the aroma of Kool-Aid mix and the texture was that of Kool-Aid. I'm sure it's not the same, but it felt like that. Whereas the homemade sugar kind of clumped a little bit and it was stickier. So maybe if I put that homemade sugar in the oven, like on a really low temperature, and kind of just brought out a lot of that moisture, it might have had better results. Our homemade sugar didn't have the flavor that the store-bought sugar had. So maybe we just need to add more flavor to it, but that's there as well. So if you're looking to purchase a cotton candy machine and you're looking to have great cotton candy, I would definitely recommend purchasing the pre-made sugar from our two experiences. So we have some store-bought sugar that we've used. The machine loves it. You saw how fast it starts cranking out the cotton candy and how fluffier it was with the store-made sugar. The machine itself is really, really good. That was pretty cool to be able to use homemade sugar, or cotton candy sugar, I should say, or sugar floss, and the ability to use store-bought sugar is really good too. It's not loud. It was on most of this video, so you can see it's not very loud. It's not going to cause a disturbance to anyone. You can still have a conversation with somebody just like this, and the machine is just going to have that slight hum in the background, which is totally fine. It's very easy to put together. I went with the item with the cart, so that way it's a little easier for me outside, because we do have barbecues and stuff, and that way I don't have to have another table to put the machine on. So the difference between what I have and what was also sold is the machine, and then having the machine on that cart that you see in the video that we had to put together. So you can get it without the cart. It's a couple bucks cheaper too. So if you wanted to do that, you don't want to have to store this big cart, which is not a bad idea, because now I got to figure out where to store that thing. But it's very cool because I don't have to have a table whenever I want to use it. Just wheel that darn thing out, and here we are, we're set up to go. It's very easy to use. It only has the fuse. It comes with extra fuse too in case you blow it. The temperature, there is no temperature per se, but it is the heat that's used. You just kind of have to watch that voltage meter on the side. So where I like to have it is around like 70, 75. That's kind of where I saw the cotton candy being the best, heating up. If you keep it just over 50, the cotton candy doesn't do anything. Just sits in there and doesn't do much. So you have to crank it up just a little bit. Watch that voltage meter go up to 70, 75-ish, and you'll start to see the candy floss, cotton candy being created. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, the machine itself is very nice. It creates cotton candy very fast. You're not really sitting around. You're gonna have to let the machine warm up for 2 to 3 minutes, but after it's warmed up, you just can leave it on for a while. It's very easy to clean as well. What you're gonna do is when you're done, you're just gonna use that candy, the sugar pourer that comes with it, fill that with some water, dump it in while the machine's on. It's gonna just kind of splat the water out. It's gonna heat some of it up too. It's gonna splat it out. I do that 2 or 3 times. That's gonna blow that out. It's gonna clean the cylinder in the center that's actually creating the candy floss. It's gonna clean that out. And then you're gonna take that big cylinder off the top, the big pan around the side, you're gonna pick that up, bring it in the sink, wash it out, and you're done. It's very simple to clean. The reason the second video we did outside is because with the store-bought sugar, we brought that outside is because we did it in the house for our homemade sugar, and cotton candy was flying all over. So if you're going to use it in your house, you could. I would recommend getting the dome that covers it to prevent cotton candy from flying all over the house. We had to clean down the kitchen because I was afraid of the dog eating cotton candy pieces all over the place. So that's not a bad idea either. If you're going to be making it in your house, buy the dome, unless you want to have to, chase stuff down. Otherwise, keep it outside. It's no big deal if this cotton candy flies around. If you're not fast enough to catch it, that's about it. One downside, it doesn't come in any of the sugar, but that's kind of cool then too, because you don't really want to have to, depend on what sugar it comes with. The cable length's pretty good. You don't want to have a super long cable. You can just run an extension cord. You don't have to worry about storing this really long cable, but you might have to look into getting an extension cord for it. Yeah, so that's I like it. I like the machine. Easy to put together, easy to use. It uses regular sugar, so you don't have to buy like the super fine sugar. When I was a kid, I had that 30-second cotton candy machine. I'm from the 80s. It was this big pink thing. You had to buy super fine sugar and put it in there. But this machine uses regular sugar off the shelf, the same stuff you use to make cookies and all other stuff. So very cool machine, very happy with the purchase. Easy to put together, and I'm really looking forward to, actually what's really cool too is with the machine I bought on that table, that cart, you can take it off the cart. With 4 bolts, it's off the cart. Now I can put it in my car, and I'm going to be bringing it to a friend's house in a couple weeks, hopefully for just a small, still coronavirus. So there's just gonna be like 6 of us there. I'm gonna bring it over and we'll have some cotton candy to kind of just hang out. So that's one cool thing too, is you don't have to always have it attached to the cart. Really easy to take off the cart and travel with it if you don't want to have it. So if you're in the market for buying a cotton candy machine, I would totally recommend this one. Easy to clean, easy to use, and the stuff comes out really good. So thanks. If this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe. Please subscribe, it helps so much. Thanks again for joining us here on Chris Reviews Stuff.